Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Liquid Meta's channel, forefronting the infrastructure powering decentralized finance. Joining us today is John, the Chief Executive Officer. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be back.
Firstly, since the IPO, you guys offered an update saying Liquid Meta generated a record revenue for the 24-hour period ending Thursday, January 6th, despite the volatility in the underlying market. And I'm sure most of the retail audience right now is fixated on that volatility, especially in these days. So can you kind of expand on that? How are you achieving this and what's going on here?
Yeah, so let's start off with what's actually happening in the macro. So we're seeing the 10-year bond yields rising towards 2%, which is causing a reaction in other parts of the market, specifically the equity market. So, people flocking to the bonds, selling their equity. So that's the first thing that's happening. The next thing that's happening is investors are really worried about rising interest rates, as are the Federal Reserve, as I mentioned last week in their minutes, their Fed minutes. And what we're seeing there as interest rates rise, there's fear that we're going to see rising interest rates, predominantly being signaled in the United States. So that's causing a whole lot of volatility in markets, and it's crossing all types of asset classes, including crypto. So in specific days, like we saw last week, where the price of Bitcoin and ETH dropped between 10 and 12%, and other altcoins also dropped between 15 and 30%, many of which were absolutely destroyed. Our business model at Liquid Meta, one that is really focused on liquidity mining and doing it in a very thoughtful manner, hedging a lot of our risk, diversifying a lot of our risk away. We were able to generate a significant amount of revenue and cash flow in a 24-hour period where volatility and fear factors were at their highest. Now, let me just explain that in a little bit more detail. The reason why revenues were very strong in a period of incredible volatility is when you're working inside decentralized applications, when you get rising vol, you get more trading activity. More trading activity results in more transaction revenues. If you're providing liquidity to a decentralized application or a protocol, rising volatility equals rising transaction volumes, which means more distribution to a liquidity provider like Liquid Meta. So that's what's been happening with this rising volatility environment. It's been actually very good for us. The most important part is not only are we generating very healthy revenues and cash flows in periods of volatility, but we're also protecting, balance sheet. The capital, our crypto capital at risk, has seen very, very little volatility and light movement. So rising revenues, flat balance sheet is the recipe for success. Again, we're building an all-weather portfolio for all types of crypto environments, when crypto markets are rising and when they're also declining.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a more prevalent time to be making these statements right now. So we really encourage the retail audience to further deep dive down into Liquid Meta as you guys also begin to strengthen your board here. You appointed a new director, Clara Bullrich. Do you just kind of want to iterate a little bit what's going on with the internal team?
Yeah, for sure. So like every great company, it all comes down to its people. And we continue to add the most impressive people, both in traditional finance, decentralized finance, and crypto and technology markets. Clara brings a very robust background in both TradFi, crypto, and even more recently, decentralized finance. She's got incredible experience working with large multifamily office on a global scale. She's got incredible background in emerging growth sectors such as crypto, and she's just been a very valuable person for us to lean on as we took the company public and as we go forward. So it was a no-brainer to bring Clara onto the team at the time that we did.
Yeah, appreciate the insight there. Just kind of broader focus question. As you guys just recently IPO'd, you have an outstanding, I think, 5.7 million shares. Do you want to briefly discuss just perhaps some of the capital structure there on the insider versus retail versus institutional ownership?
Yeah, for sure. So let me just correct you. There's 53 million basic shares outstanding. The vast majority of those shares are actually held by founders and the insiders of the company. So greater than 51% of this business is owned by its founders. And then you have another 5 to 8% that are held by the other insiders of the company. So it's very, very well held by the people behind the organization. The vast majority of the rest of the stock is held by retail, high net worth, global family office, and to a much lesser extent, institutional at this point in time.
Those are great insights. I hope people are really kind of capturing the full image of Liquid Beta here. I mean, between the high conviction insider ownership against, you know, the fact that you guys are kind of cushioned against the volatility of this market, I'm really intrigued to see when the interim start coming up. But on this note, John, I really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, my pleasure. And just one last thing, I really want to focus in on the fact that Liquid Meta is a technology company, and we're focused on revenue growth and cash flow growth in all types of crypto environments. So I don't want I want our investors to really understand that this is a growth company, and we are focused on generating a substantial amount of shareholder value as possible.
And on that note, if you guys ever have any questions, let us know what you think in that comment section below. Consider subscribing for future updates. And on that, stay cool, stay awesome, and we'll catch you in the next one.